And we do see that you guys are a new couple, a new married couple. How does that change the dynamic of the show?
Did I mean they're grown now, right? So we've seen
Right.
them as Jordan as a boy, Layla as a young woman, and now I believe that they're grown and they're stepping into this marriage. And so to do that, I think just takes a little bit more patience and a little bit more grace with one another, and but also even more continued support. And so I think that that's been a lot of fun for the both of us to kind of tap into that. As much as it is young love, it's a little bit less as intense maybe as it was season 4, 5, and 6, and so we're kind of sinking into it in season 7.
Nice, nice. And to piggyback on that, I wanted to ask Greta, how would you feel as a wife dealing with a coach husband, like dealing with different players and emotions? Because we see that in the show. So your personal experience.
Um, I think Jordan is I think he's really good at striking that balance, and he's also has always like they're a really great partnership. So I think he's always really valued sort of her input and advice on things. She's not giving him advice on, like what plays to be doing or anything like that, but just in terms of like how to conduct himself, like maybe some things he should do, maybe some things he shouldn't do. I think he's always really been open to her helping him in those areas. And so I think in her experience, she's had a great time. I don't know any coaches. I don't know as much of like what that would be like on a personal level, but um, it's definitely intense. I think it can be hard sometimes when they bring that home or the lows of the losses. But you know what you're getting yourself into. And I think like with any relationship, there's different hardships and different things that you need to navigate. So that's just what that one would look like.
How much time do you guys spend off screen getting to know each other and working with your personalities to create such a bond on the show like we see?
6 years.
I think like especially yeah, like in the earlier seasons, like a lot of us were not from LA, so we didn't really know anybody like outside of the cast. So we would spend a lot of time together and just yeah, like to Mike's point, after 6 years of working on something, you really get to know each other, and we've always been like a really close cast. So
Yeah.
I hope that that translates on screen, and it's cool to see that sort of same energy with the new characters as well, like all hanging out outside of work. So
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? The Chiefs?
Greta, I'll take
Who
this
was
one.
that? Chiefs
Greta,
or Eagles?
Chiefs or Eagles?
you know what, Mike, let you take I'm gonna let you take this one. The football guy.
Oh God, I think in an unfortunate battle of the game, the Chiefs will win.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, man. It's going to be his third time there. So history in the making.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Glad you're on the same board, man.
Yeah.
What is your best point of view of balancing the coach life and your personal life when dealing with these situations?
Well, when we meet Cassius, he comes into the story with a very unstable foundation. His wife has just left him. He's in a new city. He feels like he's let his son down because he's forced him to come to this new city with him. Um, so the way that he copes with all of that is with putting 100% into football and then a tiny little bit into drinking whiskey and eats at Layla's bar. So his social life is non-existent. So he's not doing like the best, but what he lacks in a social life, he makes up for by turning Beverly into a championship team, or like trying to turn Beverly into a championship team.
Did you bring any personal experiences into developing this character?
Yes, I don't have any like American football experiences, but the whole like coach and father aspect of Cassius, I have a mentor that I look up to, and the way he is with me, there are elements of that I bring into the relationship with Cassius and KJ.
What do you need for a father and son duo to thrive?
I think with Cassius and KJ, they feed off of each other's energy, I feel. So when Cassius comes in with that mentality of like, yeah, we're gonna get these wins, KJ's right there on board because that's how he feels as well. So them playing off of that, it's like they literally together are able to mold the team into a championship winning team, or trying to mold them into a championship winning team. Um, so yeah, I think that's the way they thrive, is the way they communicate, the way that they're in sync. They're very, very in sync. And I think, now I'm sure that it plays on screen. You can
Yeah.
see how in sync they are.
Yeah, I got that from the first two episodes already. So I'm like, what else do they got in the bank, man? How would you feel of having like a father figure as your coach?
Me personally,
Yeah. Did you have that growing up or?
well, I never had that growing up. But I think I would. I mean, I never played like on a football team. I played when I was really young, but I played football for fun a lot, like 7-on-7s with my boys. But on a team, I feel like it would be a good. I think it would be a good experience. I mean, I would just have to learn how to not bring personal life into like game life. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have an argument the day before with my dad, and then like that type of petty energy like goes on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I,
It's a little show. The
I don't even,
potential
yeah, I
show.
don't even know how I would be personally in that position. But the relationship I have with my father, I mean, I think we'd be good. We can't argue over nothing the day before, because we might
Right,
hold
right.
a little bit. We might hold on to that grudge for a little bit. He's like, "No, I'm not finna play you." And I'm like, well,
But
like,
that
nah,
makes sense, you
like
know.
what? I ate your bag of chips yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
When did you realize that you had to put in 10,000 hours to achieve life goals?
hmm, I mean,
As an actor, sorry, Nate, were you gonna
no,
go?
no, no, no. Go ahead.
Yeah,
As
this
an
is for the
actor,
both of you.
you learn very early on that if you're not in it for the right reasons, then this industry would like chew you up and spit you out. You gotta like, you gotta really want to put in the work. You gotta really have like a develop a tough skin because of all the rejection that's involved. So I think very early on in my career, with all the rejection and things not going the way I thought they might go, um, that was kind of like the time when I realized this isn't going to be a sprint. This is definitely a marathon type of career situation. And to achieve the goals that I have in my heart, I have to put in that work. And that means doing every audition and going over and above for learning lines or character development. And that work has to be put in, you know? I think that's what it was for me.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with OC. I mean, I've been acting ever since I was like 8 years old. So it's kind of something that I've been learning, I feel. And when I wanted to get to that point, like when I got to the age where I was like, oh, I'm taking this seriously, I knew if I wanted to be at the level I wanted to be at when watching all these amazing actors in these films or on television, and I knew I wanted to be on that level, I knew I had to put in the work. Then that means like really going over my lines, like really going over them, character development, because I feel, preparation builds confidence, and that confidence creates great performances. You know what I'm saying? So at
Oh,
that point, you just realize like, okay, if you want to showcase your best work, you have to put in the work for sure.
yeah, because out of these first two episodes, it's really like focusing in on people stepping up to the plate, you know, being in a new environment and having to perform. I was gonna ask you, how does it feel entering such a big show with a huge fan base? You know, you're new to the show, so that could be a lot of pressure itself.
It Thankfully, I haven't really felt pressure. I felt like a very welcoming environment because everybody behind the camera, behind the scenes, and in front of the camera, they've all been together. Most of them have been together since season one. So that's already a well-oiled machine. That's already a tight family unit. And they've just been so welcoming to the new cast. and the writers have done such a great job of these new characters coming in and fitting perfectly into the All American universe that I just the only thing that I had to do was just focus on showing up and being there for everybody, you know, like not making it about, oh, can I be the best I can be, but how can I serve this legacy, you know? How can I add to it? How can I do the story justice and these characters justice to serve the fans? Because I'm a fan. I was watching this since season one, so I didn't want to come in here and just like not deliver, you know?
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, man, I mean, I don't
Chiefs.
want to say I'm a hater or anything, but I always root for the underdog. And, the
Okay.
Chiefs, they got what, three under their belt right now, right?
Yeah. This would be
Uh,
the third one for the Chiefs.
it'll be the third one
Yeah, if they win this one.
in a row too.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna get the three P. I want the three P.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
want the
don't
three P.
know. I'm always an underdog type of dude. People are like, "Oh, the Chiefs are gonna win. They already got two," but like, let's go Eagles.
Are there any surprises you can hint from your character for this season?
Yeah, I think, you know, the biggest surprise is, Khalil is going to be a little bit more than you see on the outside. I think Khalil's a very multi-dimensional character. It's a lot of layers. So I'm excited as, all of these characters and Amina and Jordan start to peel those layers back, what we find.
What do you think fans will get from this season? Like, what will be the key message learning from your character?
I think the key message might be to lean on your community and trust in your friends. I think, we'll find as Khalil begins to, accept the people around him and what they're offering him, it's going to help him grow and develop and be more comfortable and, find his, path.
Right, right. Yeah, because his character is like in the sweet spot of being like right in the middle of everything. Like he could be the main guy for pretty much the rest of the season. So I'm like, oh man, like he got something in store for him. Can you remember a specific moment where you actually, like for yourself, do you remember when you had to start making your own decisions to become the person you are today?
Mm. I remember a few years ago, I was, really depressed, wasn't really having the best go. I've been an EMT for a very long time, and I wasn't happy with my work and, what I was putting out into the world. Very curious about what my purpose was and all that good stuff. And I'm talking really fast because I know we're on a time limit. Thought back to a conversation that I had with my pastor when I was about 16. And he said, if you had a stipend and you had to contribute to society, um, and all of your living needs were taken care of, but you had to do something, what would that thing be? And for me, it was acting. And that's what kind of made me curious about this art form and this sport again and get back into it. And similar to Khalil in deciding whether or not to play football, it really enabled me to, kind of curate my life and create my reality. So I would say that moment was pretty pivotal, for me. And I've quit and started and stopped and had doubts and all those things. But, it's been beautiful to keep, finding myself, and leaning on my community in the same way.
I think honestly, from a very young age, I had an idea of who I wanted to be. I just knew that I wanted to make an impact on the world. And I initially thought I was going to be an OBGYN, nothing to do with acting. I took a health class around the time I was actually like about 16 as well. And I was like, ooh, got to figure out a new life path. And I stumbled upon acting. And of course, you dream of these things, but you don't know exactly how you're going to make that happen because there's people who've come before you, there's greats that have come before you, and you want to just be half as good as them. And so I realized that this was a moment that I would have to take life into my own hands to make sure that I could live the life that I had envisioned for myself since I was a young girl. And that was a life of security, but also the freedom to create. I love that through acting, it's such a multifaceted craft, and you get to meet yourself. And I think that that's so beautiful in that sense that I'm learning myself, and I always call myself a student of life, and acting allows me to do that. And so it helps me to make these big decisions. But I think at that moment, it was like, I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. And of course, there's no age limit to figure these things out. But that was just when I personally said, okay, this is the moment where I feel like I have to make a decision for myself about what I want.
What did it feel like stepping on the cast of All American for the first day? What did day one feel like?
Felt like a greatest dream that you could imagine. One of the greatest dreams you could have imagined because the cast, the crew, the set, the energy, you can just feel it from the time you get there. It's just beautiful energy. And me and Antonio joke about this all the time. It's like how we approached coming here on our first days, and people are like, well, you're Preacher's daughter. And I'm like, look, y'all, I'm just happy to be here. I don't know what lies ahead, but I am happy to simply be here and being around the OGs and watching them work and observing their work and observing how they breathe life into the characters was just so beautiful to see the energy that they bring outside of their work and how they just show up in the world naturally. It was just a gift. It's been a gift, and they continue to be that way each and every day. We've been working for a while now, but they show up that same way. And honestly, as I said earlier today, just a beacon of light on this set, and you just want to carry on that same energy that they provide.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Ooh. Can I say I want the Eagles to win, and I'm a stand.
Oh, okay. No, you're the second one to say that. I ain't gonna tell you who else is on your team, but we got
And I,
Eagles. It's actually 2-2 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. So
Yes,
it's up to you. Who you got, Antonio?
I'm going for the underdog. I want the Eagles to win too.
Okay. Okay. There we go.
Next story.
I like
and
Patrick Mahomes.
then Amina's from Philly. She's more so. I think I gotta
Oh, so
gotta.
Camille definitely want the Eagles to win. What?
Yeah.
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 Go.
It was great meeting you both. This was it was fun getting to know you guys and seeing you on the TV. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Much
for
love.
having me.
Thank you so much.
What went into the decision of introducing new characters, and how would that shape the storytelling?
The real answer is, when Daniel, Ezra, and I were talking about sort of where we thought Spencer's story would end and what would feel like the right and organic end for that character's journey, there was part of me that was like, okay, well, maybe that's where the show ends. Because, he achieved the dream, marries the woman, everyone is sort of successfully launched into adulthood, and into their careers. And then I was at Starbucks because I drink an obscene amount of coffee. And the barista recognized my name, which is very rare for anyone to recognize the writers behind things. And she chased me out and proceeded to tell me how All American had changed her life and how she'd been a college dropout and didn't really think like her dreams were worth pursuing, and everything in the show gave her back her belief in herself, and she went back to school and finished college and all of those things. And after we were both a crying blubbering mess, she said, I hope a show like this are still around for my brother when he comes of age. And in that, it just hit me in that moment. And I was like, oh my God, we still have so many stories to tell. And we still have generations of kids who want to see themselves represented in this way that we do on the show. And so I sort of ran back into the writer's room and I'm like, guys, like we got to figure out what the iteration of the show looks like after Spencer goes off to the NFL. We have to keep it going. We need to cater to a new generation. And that's what sort of sparked the idea of what if we took it back to high school and we started all over again with new high schoolers, new D1 dreams, new love triangles, new high stakes, all of that, while also watching many of our OG cast members mature into adulthood, albeit sometimes reluctantly, because they're like, we're at the peak of our lives. We're not quite adults yet, except they are. And watching them navigate that journey as newlyweds, as lawyers, as, club owners, and now as the responsible ones that a new generation is looking up to. And it all just started to come together from that. And then you have these phenomenal actors walk in the room, people like Nate McIntyre and Antonio Bell and Alexis and Osi, and everything just clicked.
can you explain the new heart of All-American without Spencer and Olivia being the center of focus?
I mean, that's an excellent question, man. I think that like the cool thing about it is like in its own unique way, the heart remains. It's just how we get to and or how we kind of navigate it through like these different journeys. And I think that like, when you look at the Khalil kid and it's a bit of an underdog story, and then you look at like you look at the KJ and Cassius dynamic, where you really get this cool opportunity to see like this young black dad who genuinely loves his son, and these two dudes are legitimately best friends, and how we've had in terms of like how you connect that to like maybe what Spencer's journey was in terms of him not necessarily or him having a little bit more of a troubled relationship with his pops versus these two and them kind of starting off in a great place and them kind of being the best of friends. Now we're going to take them on a journey and it's going to open up some fascinating some fascinating stuff in a really cool way that's kind of tied to their past. But like getting an opportunity to explore that, getting an opportunity to explore Preacher's daughter Amina, and her really wanting to kind of step into adulthood. You know what I mean? And I think that like having an opportunity to kind of tell these stories still in that setting, kind of still torn between both worlds, but like having an opportunity to kind of tell these stories in a slightly different way, but still kind of landing in the same spot because the beauty of them going back to high school, man, is high school's messy. And that's going to create great drama. And they're going to make bad decisions, and it's going to get really bad, but then they'll become really good again. And so we get an opportunity to kind of see them matriculate through this similar setting, but in their own way.
Where do you see the future of the show going from here as far as being in high school? Where can the next level come?
Well, the great thing about this new cast is we're catching them in the middle of their high school careers. So they're just starting to dream of how to get to those career paths that they want. Like KJ wants to be an NFL player. He wants that D1 path. He wants to be a professional, football player. And so how he navigates that with everything that's going on in his life and the foundation sort of getting ripped out from under him with his family separating, and it just being him and his dad now, and really missing that sort of mom piece. How he and now he's off a championship winning team and now playing with underdogs. What does that do to the dream? Because they're right at that age where it's not just all fun and games anymore. Everything they're doing now in high school is about setting them up for the futures they say they want. And so getting to navigate that journey is going to take time. And so we're excited about having, the room and the scope to tell those stories, starting with this new generation. For Amina, who we met on the show as an 11-year-old when she first turned up in town to meet Reed,
Okay.
we're now meeting her as a 16-year-old, and she's so on the cusp of womanhood. And it's a time when you really need your mother. And she doesn't have that person. And she doesn't have that person because of the other two people she loves so much in her life, which are her auntie Coop and her dad Preach. And so part of her journey into, high school and young adulthood and first everythings, she also has this real issue of I'm old enough now to understand what happened with my mom, so I need the truth. And it's a truth that both Preach and Coop are going to struggle with how to tell her because the simple answers that you give an 11-year-old aren't enough anymore. And that is a required part of Amina figuring out her journey and who she wants to be in life and the path she wants to walk without one of the most important figures in her life, who she was so close to, which is her mother, without that there. And how does she keep that legacy alive with the truth of what really happened in that alleyway? And so the past and the present are going to catch up in order for her to determine her future.
I have like 20 seconds left, but it was great meeting both of you. I'm really
Likewise.
invested into the show and I cannot wait to see the rest.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for
you.
your
Thank
time.
you, Devontae. Appreciate you, man.